The Highlands are beautiful in any weather, but it's been raining for what feels like weeks now. And every so often, a little bit of light breaks through. Not brightly, just these little faded pockets of sunlight touching the mountains. But as the darkest days of the year approach, I'll take whatever light I can get. So I wasn't planning on talking about this today, but something happened this week. My daughter, who is my youngest child, told me that she doesn't believe in Santa anymore. And honestly, I didn't expect it to hit as hard as it has. I felt like I lost one of the beads on the necklace of my identity. For so long, I was Santa. I was the magic. I was the reason they believed. And there's grief in that, but also a sense of relief, because it's been a lot. It was intense for so many years, and now that chapter is just quietly closed. It's gone. I think midlife is full of these moments where we stop being things to our children and then have to reshape our identity. Our bodies have changed. We're certainly not the people we were before motherhood, and we're certainly not expected to be desirable in the same way. We just all of a sudden have to become something new. Oh my gosh. I put on makeup for you guys. This is ridiculous. Finding yourself again isn't as simple as going into your closet and putting on your old clothes. They don't fit. And even if they did, they just don't feel right anymore. This all happened yesterday, so it's still very raw. There's sadness, there's relief, and there's fear because the routine changes. Not completely or all at once, but enough for you to notice. She told me she had a magical childhood, gave me a hug, and I cried. And I feel very vulnerable right now, but I'm not going to suppress this feeling. I'm going to name it. I feel sadness, and I'm going to let it move through me, and then I'm going to let it go. It is a sad moment. As a woman growing up, most of us were taught that everyone and everything comes before us. Our children, our responsibility, our work, our family. But what happens one day when we're the project? When protecting ourselves while aging is the most important thing we can do, so that we can continue to show up and be a stable presence in the lives of those we love. It's certainly a shift, and I don't have the answers yet, but I'm paying attention, and I think that's what counts. So Christmas looks a little bit different this year. This year, it's just the four of us, and that in itself is new. I'm a little bit sad about that, but my husband is really looking forward to a quiet Christmas, and I've never had one, so yes, it will be a new experience. But anyway, you know I love creating beautiful spaces. It's one of my creative outlets, so I'll take you around the house, and don't feel too sad for me, because at least I don't have to worry about that stupid elf anymore. So this is the color scheme I designed for the entire house, and I go back to it each time I do a room, but also when I'm doing Christmas decorations, because I want everything to feel like it's flowing. And I know what you're thinking, Laurie, it doesn't look like it's decorated for Christmas. Ah, but it is. If you're new here, I'm autistic and I have ADHD, and so do my children. So too many decorations are very overstimulating for us. Instead, when it comes to midwinter decorating, I try to make it comfy and snug and warm. And even though it doesn't look like Christmas has thrown up in this room, you have to admit it does look warm and cozy. And it looks like a room, and it's really just a hallway. The dining room is a red room, and when you're looking out through the red room, I wanted to have little bits of that same red in this design, so that you just felt like you were moving into a cohesive space. I will make no apologies for the state of this room because it is the wrapping station. And even better, because formal dining rooms only get used in formal occasions, I have created a way to use this almost every single day. And if you saw my last video, you know I hate wrapping. But I come in here and I light a candle and I put on an audiobook or I listen to music and I pretend I'm a character who loves wrapping. A few videos ago, I had some tartan ribbon draped around the tree, but it looked very dark. And I was scrolling on Instagram one night and my daughter saw a picture of this tree that was all done in ribbons. And the next Saturday, she and I did all of this together because this is what she wanted. And I have to say, it makes me really, really happy because she was interested in it and it's one of my kind of special interests, so it was nice to share that with her. But because of the way my brain works, you'll notice that all the ribbons are actually the color scheme of the house. But these were the color ribbons we had because I do tend to buy these colors. There's not a lot of ornaments on this tree, and you know, while I admire other people's trees with a lot of ornaments, I have a cat and I don't want them all to get broken because some of these are quite precious. Every year when we were living in London, we would take the kids to a garden center and they would get to pick out like a sort of expensive ornament to put on the tree. And I would just be devastated. Some of them have already been broken and glued several times because, you know, they were young children, especially the little doll ones and the nutcracker ones, which is always what they went for anyway. But you know, it's our tree. Exhibit A as to why there are not millions of bubbles on our tree. The garland on this mantle is one part the fake garland from the dining room and one part the real garland from the snug because, you know, autism. But you'll see this repeated color scheme of the deep reds and a dusky blue, although in here it's a much darker dusky blue, and then the kind of muted greens as well. And if you've had a very keen eye, you'll notice that in nearly every room, I have something blue and white. It's my husband and I's favorite, and we just love it. So we put a little nod to it in every room. stop the car and take a picture of this. I cannot believe how beautiful this place is. I have a pumpkin left over from Halloween. And it's still good, there's no signs of rot. Pumpkins are literally made to last all winter. But my son is home sick today with the flu. He's been home for the past 2 days actually, and can't get to the store. So for lunch, I'm gonna make him some pumpkin soup. But this is a huge pumpkin. So I'm thinking, since you and I have nothing better to do today, maybe we experiment? I'm thinking maybe pumpkin sugar cookies. I don't even know if those exist, but I'm gonna scour the internet and see if I can find a recipe.
Cleaning out a pumpkin is a lot more fun when you don't have to worry about not scarring its face. Wait for it, wait for it. Yes, how satisfying was that? This was a good pumpkin. It was big and it lasted a long time, which means it has good genes and I'm gonna save the seeds. Maybe next year I'll be harvesting my own pumpkins. That's going to need to roast for about 45 minutes, so I'm going to go for a walk.
So it looks like it's raining, but it's actually tiny baby hail. I think I'm gonna go inside. It's a bit painful. I think I'm just gonna check on the pumpkin. I'm just throwing hailstones all over the kitchen. So this is all an experiment, but I think what I'm gonna do first is make the pumpkin puree. That way I can separate it into a little bit for the soup and I can have a little bit maybe for the freezer, and then we can experiment with some pumpkin sugar cookies. Homemade pumpkin puree is quite watery, so I'm gonna turn it into puree, but then afterwards I'm probably gonna have to strain it. I mean, there's already a lot of water. Look at all that. That is a lot of water. I'm gonna start with the cookies first because on the recipe it says it needs to sit in the fridge for half an hour to an hour, and during that time I can make the soup. So first I have to cream 3/4 of a cup of sugar and half a cup of butter. Next we're gonna beat in 1 egg, half a cup of pumpkin puree, and a teaspoon of vanilla. Two cups flour, half a teaspoon of soda, half a teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. Now we fold in the dry into the wet. Well, they smell good at least.
And I'm going to put the dough in the freezer for at least half an hour.
Well, the kitchen is an absolute mess, but it's 11:30, so I've got plenty of time to make the soup.
Now, the soup's not going to be anything fancy, just a little olive oil, some onions, and some garlic. I'm going to add in the pumpkin puree and cook that down for a little while. Chuck in a chicken stock cube. And nothing about this pumpkin is going to waste. I'm adding in that pumpkin water.
No lie, I have never made royal icing sugar, never. And I've never made like that kind of sugar cookie icing, but this recipe calls for it, so it'll be an experiment. But I'm wondering if I can paint the cookies or decorate them. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. The soup was a big hit. My son came back for seconds and he is now snoozing on the sofa, and it's 12:20 and he slept till 10:30, so he is not very well, bless him. I'm sure you think I'm always baking. I assure you, I only bake for you. And this is the truth. And the reason I don't bake and that I do it with you is because I've never been really good at it because, well, you see me, I'm physically allergic to following a recipe. But every year I see all of these really cool decorated Christmas cookies. I don't think this is how my icing is supposed to go. Fun fact, no one in our house actually likes icing. We all think it's a bit too sweet. Okay, now it's coming together. I made it in this big bowl because I thought I was going to need a lot of room, but I really should have made it in the smaller bowl. Do I go ahead and mix up different colors? Yes, let's do that. I am a complete mess, but you know what? I don't care. I'm having fun. I can't believe I never tried this. I tried the cookies. They're really good. I would definitely make them again. I'll pop the recipe in the description if you're interested. This icing is so much fun to work with. I can't believe I've never done this before. I'm treating it almost as like a painting session. I do wish I had made different colors, and I do wish I had made a little bit more looking at all the cookies that this recipe made. And actually half of it is still in the freezer because there's only so many cookies you can eat in a week. Well, it's a new day, and today is finally the day that I drop all of the snowmen off at the school, and they're off to their new homes tomorrow when Santa comes to the school. And I'm feeling much better about my own Santa moment, and I think I've had the chance to kind of digest it. And the reality is nothing was wrong. It was a sad moment, but it only meant that things were changing, and change can be scary. And midlife is full of changes. Our bodies are changing, our hormones are changing, our energy levels are constantly fluctuating, and children grow and routines change, and our roles as parents change. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's the way things are supposed to happen. Emotions are just patterns in the brain. And for someone like me who is autistic, sensitive, and deeply wired, they can seem all-consuming. But emotions are not fixed. They rise, they peak, and they pass, as long as we don't panic and hold on to them. So when something rises up, whether it is sadness, nostalgia, or joy, I try to notice it, name it, and then give my nervous system something to hold on to, whether that be a walk or making something with my hands, or just kind of trying to break out of that cycle of going down the spiral of the emotion itself. Nothing fixes everything, but in doing this, I'm training my brain to learn that change doesn't necessarily equal danger, that I can feel deeply and yet still keep going. And maybe that's the real work of this stage of life, is not becoming someone new overnight, but training ourselves to accept this change for whatever comes next. And if this way of thinking and making resonates with you, you are very welcome here. You can stay, come back, or follow along as I try to work things out in real time. I have not missed the metaphor of packing up these snowmen and the end of an era for me. But you know what? We're just gonna see how it goes.